All right, the recording has started. So first of all, just want to thank everyone for coming yet again today, and I wanted to start with answering. I know one of the questions from yesterday, and I believe it was from Jeffrey, was regarding the attachments, like the number and the size of attachments. Um, just to answer that question, it really kind of depends. Um, the On the administrative side of Stairwell, you can set an attachment size. You can also set the attachment types if need be. And so that would be a question for um, the specific. It's going to be instance to instance on that. Um, and then just know as far as the size and number of attachments, if quite a few attachments are being utilized, then it could have potential to slow your system down at a later date and time. But attaching just a few attachments usually okay. Um, so yeah, sorry, we get some more people joining here. Jeffrey, was that your question yesterday? All right.
Actually, actually,
Oh,
actually, that was
sorry,
my question. I'm Brian.
Brian.
Yes.
Sorry. Does
We
that
have
answer?
a yes, it did. There's a few users that are still trying to log in because of their slow connection right now. So they're making an attempt to try to log in as we speak.
Okay, we
Thank you.
can. Yeah, we'll hold off then for a few more minutes. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to make got that answered.
Good morning. This is Deb. I have a question about the previous training. Was the link included in the last training session's chat to the recording?
To the recording, no, that has not been sent out yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
But we will be sending that out.
Good morning. This is Brian again. I have another question. When I was trying to log into the Office 365, look at the AD, and then I was logging into the Sharewell 365, I was noticing that I was getting an error on my mobile device. Is the Sharewell? I know most of our users they don't have access to a computer, but on a mobile device, I was noticing they were getting like a network error or authentication issue. So has that been enabled yet, or is it still in testing?
From a Sharewell perspective, that's a great question. As far as a network error, you shouldn't be getting a network error, I wouldn't think. So I guess have you tried to log in with Office 365 on a computer as well?
Yes, on the PC it's fine. I'm able to get it. But I was getting when I log into Microsoft Online on my phone, I was getting an SAML request or SMAO response must be present as a query string parameters and HTTP request. I didn't know if they enabled that feature or was it disabled yet. I can send you that error if you want. I can also include it in the conversation.
I guess the other question I would have is, are you able to log into just Office 365 on your phone? Like if you went
Yes,
to,
I
okay,
can get into 365, but once I choose the shortcut for Sharewell, I automatically get that error. I referenced that back to Microsoft and it says it has to do with an authentication issue.
okay.
Brian, this is Ian. Could you send a screenshot of that error message
Ah,
to
that's
me and
Chris
Dana
too. Absolutely. Who
and
wants
AJ?
to?
I think.
Okay, I will do
Bir-
so.
Birds of a feather. Hey, where do you need that, Ian? I'm sorry, I zoned out exactly when you said where it needs to go. Sorry, dude. Can you tell me?
Just shoot it over to me, Dana, and AJ.
You got it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, Brian. We're twins.
That's okay.
So we're clear. Is this the login when you go through the portal, correct? This isn't the thick line.
Correct. This is on my
Okay.
mobile device.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, anytime I try to bounce over via the 365 SAML.
Possibly stupid question. How are you accessing Office 365 on your phone? Do you mean you're logging in through portal.office.com in the browser or something else?
Yes, I'm logging in through on my iPhone. I'm logging in through 365 through Safari. Once I type in portal.office.com, I automatically type in my 2FA. Once I go into 2FA, I see the shortcut in the apps. When I click on the nine dots, and once I click on the Stairwell icon, it looks like a wave, and then and it takes a few seconds, and then eventually I get that error.
Same.
Thank you,
Isn't
Chris.
isn't it nice when somebody from the service desk has the same problem as you and can describe it that well?
Ditto.
Not really, but we'll take it.
We'll work out whatever you need, man.
If folks have any other questions, now would be a great time to surface those. If not, JC, I would recommend that we just get moving here.
Okay, we have everyone that's gonna be coming in.
Yeah, I want to be conscious of everybody's time.
Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, as Ian said, is there any questions before we go ahead and get started here? All right. So yesterday we were able to get ahead of schedule with the portal training. I do have one item to go over today, but really after that I want to have kind of an open forum for you to ask any questions, for us to go through a couple more examples collaboratively as a group. And we really want to make sure that we've met all of your needs as customers, that you'll be successful. You know how to create a ticket, you know how to search for knowledge, you know how to view your tickets, all within the portal. So if you have any questions, please feel free to stop me at any point. In the meantime, we'll go through this last item that we have. And so if you would like, please go ahead and you can log into the system, and we can kind of go through this together. But I'll be sharing my screen. Let me actually share my screen before I say that. Just one moment here. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you. Let me go ahead and log in. And so what I want to show you here quick, let me just refresh my screen here. Is basically what happens when I create, let me actually go ahead and do this. So I'm going to say I've got a printer issue here. And if you remember when we were talking about yesterday, down here is going to be your kind of just like your quick ticket creations. All of these will also be in the service catalog as well. But just for quick hitting, we're going to say I've got a printer issue. And then my printer does not work, preventing me from doing my work, does not affect multiple users. I'm going to submit this. We can see that my incident has been submitted because I've said that my printer doesn't work, my printer is broken, so that is an incident, and that it has been created. So the one thing that we didn't really go over yesterday is that I've seen that my incident has been created on this the portal, but I don't really know. I don't get an email. I haven't seen my email yet. So one of the things that Stairwell will also do is it will also send you an email. And give me just one moment. That will look something like this. So you can see it's got the description. It says my printer does not work. Submitted from the portal. See the customer name, and just it's another just stating that your record has been added. So just for your record, it's got the information in here. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because you can reply back to your ticket via email. And so if I click reply, bring this back over. What I want to point out is this top subject line. It's regarding incident ID 103949 has been created, CMI, and then gives this ID. Now, when you're replying back, do not change the subject line. So what Stairwell is going to be looking for is that subject line, and that's how it knows how to link your email to your existing ticket. If you change that subject line, it will not know how to connect it, especially if you change the CMI. This is just an internal ID that Stairwell understands that knows how to link it. The rest of it should also be left alone, but specifically the CMI. So if you need to add anything, it should really just be done within the description or the body of your email. Does that make sense?
So this is just from a user's perspective, right? If you're a technician who is replying to an email within the system, could you change the subject line of the email up to the point of CMI?
The internal. So if you're a technician on the internal side, you wouldn't be going through Outlook email. You'd be working within the tool itself. The tool has its own kind of email functionality. But yes, this is from a customer aspect of what you would see. So you may also see this in a service desk member might send an email asking for more information. So you may see another email very similar to this, and you need to keep, like I said, keep the subject line the same. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
This is Deb again. If I can expand on Catherine's question, if you use the email tool within a ticket, then you have the option to change the subject to something like approval request.
You should be able to change the subject. Usually the subject line on the internal side is predefined by your administrator. That can be discussed through service desk. So that you could, because the reason being is that on the back end, essentially you have it in an email monitor that takes a look for specific things. It might take a look for, like in this case, incident ID with the ID has been created. It may look for exactly that so that it knows what to attach to the ticket. So you need to be careful with that. But that would be on a more internal course. Today, we're just looking at from the customer standpoint.
Thank you.
Yep. Are there any other questions? Okay. And once again, just to make sure this is just strictly from the customer perspective. So you may see a lot of emails very similar to this. It may say incident and then give you a number and description. It may have additional questions for you to answer. Once again, just remember to answer in the body of the email and not to change the subject line. All right. All right. So looking back at the portal here. And let's give it another refresh here. There we go. All right. So let's do, has anyone gotten a chance to actually go in and try to play around in this at all? Or I guess if you haven't, from the information that we did yesterday, is there any additional questions or comments or concerns that you may have?
This is Deb again. So when I click on, go to the portal and click on software request, it says I have to be a liaison to do anything else. So that's as far as I would get.
Okay, so when you click on software request, you're saying you're getting, you're seeing this, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This is correct, JC, because this is liaisons requesting a purchase of a new software.
Yep. So,
Is
Deborah,
there
did you
requests
try?
from individuals to like get a existing software on their device?
There is another form for that.
Yeah, so if it's if the titles of these things are confusing, that's a design issue that we should discuss afterwards. Ian, if you could make a note of that. New software request or software request could be either I want software on my computer or the city, my department needs to buy new software. It's not clear.
I'm just taking a look at the service catalog here. Let's see where that might be here. Application software.
Would it be request application access?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, to get into that and just want to, and in its current state, since that's what we're currently looking, the software request just for everyone is for liaisons only. And then if you want to gain access to software, if you go into the service catalog, application software, and then request application access.
It does say in the service catalog right next to that one where it says request application access, it does say software purchase request. And then in the description, it says for liaisons only. So maybe that just needs to be specified in the homepage so that it's a software purchase request as opposed to new software request.
Yeah, and that'll have to go back to Ian. I think it was Heidi that was saying, asking Ian to take note of that for a future case.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. So, Deborah, did you try any of the other items, or did you just see that liaisons only, and then that was as far as you got?
That was the only one I tried. I also clicked on the service, what was it, service management, and looked around with that. So it looks fine. I guess I'm not looking at it from a customer standpoint at this moment.
Okay. So has anyone from looked at it from a customer aspect, and like what would you click on, or anyone have any, has anyone even logged in, or does anyone have any discussion from yesterday that you want to go back into because you're a little confused, or does everything make perfect sense? All right. Well, we'll test that knowledge, and we'll ask a couple questions, and so if you are more on the internal side, I'll ask that you hold off and let's see if the customers can answer these first. And then if there's any issues or if no one speaks up, then feel free. But my first question is, I want to run. I've got an issue, and the first thing I want to do, and let's say it's a printer issue because I really like printer issues today. I have this printer issue, but I would really like to fix it myself. So I'd like to search a knowledge base, or I'd like to search something other than Google. What would I do? Where would I go to do that?
So you could go into the search bar at that's kind of in the middle of the picture and try some search terms, right?
Okay.
Or you could go into, if you went into printers in the service catalog, it says desktop and network. And there's only two choices, submit, request a printer or submit an incident. So I guess the only way to look it up yourself is to go into, there isn't like a knowledge base link if you go into the service catalog. So I guess it's only from either that home page, that search bar, or if you go up to knowledge articles in the menu at the very top left.
Okay. Very good. Yep.
And there are no articles found, but that's just because we haven't put anything in yet, correct?
Yeah, correct. So if I did a search for test here, there's just no articles with the word printer in it currently, but there are 6-7 articles, 6 with the word test in it. So yeah, very good. Now remember that Stairwell, there is usually multiple places to do the same thing. So just to reiterate, Heidi was saying in the middle of the main picture, we have this knowledge search. This first search that I did when I searched for printer came up with no results. That may happen. It's going to be one of two causes when that happens. It's going to be you have specified something that is too specific, and you need to go broader on what you're asking, or there potentially could be no knowledge articles. Now, because this is Stairwell still in its infancy, the likely answer is that there are no knowledge articles at this time. As you grow your knowledge management, that will change, and then you'll just have to make sure that you're refining your searching kind of just key terms and maybe not full sentences. And you should be able to find what you're looking for. You can use full sentences as well. Just be careful on your results may vary. And then we went through the other place to look for knowledge articles is going to be right here. And it does the same thing. So if we did a search, we can see the results here. Now, while I'm here, do you want to note again that this is currently in the grid view? And we can see that it's kind of in a grid. The way by default it's going to show up for you is going to be in this list view. So it's going to show up like this. And the way to change that is if we click on an item and then go to grid view, we see it in the grid view. And then this will be in grid view for all of our other items. All right. So the next question, earlier today, literally earlier, we submitted a ticket for a printer issue that my printer wasn't working. Where would I go? How would I see updates on that ticket?
Under my items.
Under my items. Okay. Now where?
So the printer was broken, so it would be a incident.
Okay. If I double click this open incident, it's not doing anything. Where should I click? What should I do?
On the number 5? Or no?
Okay. Here, as we can see, we are in grid view. We can look in the description field in the grid view here. You should be able to see it from the list view as well. But right here, we can see that we have the my printer does not work. And from this, when can I expect a response?
December 4th, 10:43.
Okay.
By December 4th.
And do we know, is this ticket assigned to someone yet?
No, it says unassigned to the bottom right.
Yep, right here. It'll tell you if it's assigned to someone or not. And then what's the status of my ticket?
I mean, it's new.
Yep.
And it will follow the progress bar to the right as it progresses through the system.
Yep, exactly. So as soon as this gets assigned, we'll see it here. And if you give me just a moment here, I can probably bring that up. Okay, let's get away from this and head back in quick. It may take it just a couple minutes here. Well, here we can see that the technician has been changed. It is still in the new status.
And JC, when you look at that on the upper left light gray menu bar there, it says you can edit. So as a customer, I could edit something there.
This allows you to edit the detailed description. And we had discussed this a little bit yesterday. As an organization, you'll need to determine, is this something that I want customers to be able to do to edit the description directly, or for them to just add a comment? Currently, you have it as both. That doesn't necessarily have any issues with that. The only issue might be is if a customer came in and then they deleted their description. I mean, it really depends on if customers are devious, I guess, if they change their fully description after it's being worked on. But a lot of times it can be okay to have this. But so in this case, I can.
Yeah, I was thinking it could be a case where I said, oh, I should have put a little bit more information in my ticket or something.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the intent is. The overall intent for editing this is exactly that, or to add a comment to it. So they both do similar items. From the kind of back-end perspective, the add comment will add a journal. The detailed description will edit the journal directly. Sorry, we'll edit the description directly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, so on the back end, I also just put this ticket to in progress. We can see that that status is changing here. So it is pretty live on when things change, as you can see right here. Does that all make sense? The statuses, the technician. I know we talked a lot about the SLA, the response time yesterday, but we didn't necessarily talk about the statuses. You are able to see progression of where it is and who's currently working on it. Any questions on any of this?
I would just
All
say
right.
that the progress is moving fast because our service desk is responsive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And thank you again for bringing up this this bar. I think that that's a good thing to notice. That edit button will be editing the detailed description. And I don't know if you saw one thing to be aware of. Thing here. See if it'll save. Okay, it did. One thing that potentially you may see an error of is if someone is actually working on this ticket and you try to edit the detailed description, it may ask you if you want to merge your changes or not. Generally, what I might suggest is just to abandon your changes for now, let the technician work on it, because they might be asking you additional questions. They might have a result for you. And then if they don't, you can always come in. You can always add a comment later instead as well. So there's plenty of options. All right. All right. So I'm looking at this portal page. I'm going through knowledge articles, service catalog, my items. But I don't know. All I really want to do is call the service desk. How do I find their number?
Go to home and it should be on the main screen.
Okay, where? Let's see.
All the way down. Scroll down.
Okay, all the way down.
And the number should be there. That's one way. And the other way, if you are in the incident or in the ticket itself, there should be a call service desk.
All right, let's get within one quick. I'm not seeing that.
Under my items?
Let's go to my items.
I think so, yeah. And then click on any of the tickets like open tickets or open incidents. And go in one of the tickets and contact service desk is there.
Okay, this is just to leave a comment. This won't actually give you the phone number.
Yeah, the home page will give you the phone number.
Yeah. That's what we were looking for. What is the phone number? We can see the service desk times and availabilities. Please call this number. If you need us after hours, we can call this number. Press 1 for emergencies, 2 for password resets. All right. Now, let's see. Let's say I wanted to make a change to a website. Where would I go? What would I do? And I don't have permissions to make the change. I just want to change to a website.
Go back to the home page.
Okay.
Icon bottom right, website and design request.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Now, where else could I have gone?
Service catalog, I guess.
Okay. Nowhere.
Communication services. There might be one down.
Go back to the service catalog.
Yeah, just real quick. Just scroll down. Web services at the bottom.
All right.
I guess, well, internet probably be more.
Internet refers to any city web properties maintained by the web team.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Awesome. Now, what would I have done if I didn't want to just search through this catalog? Like, you noticed, I mean, we went to communication services first. We didn't see what we're looking for. I went to web services and web analytics, web user training was the first thing we looked at. And well, it's not really that. It must be internet. So
yeah.
What else could we have done?
Well, in any web site or web application, users generally go for the search engine first anyways. So that should populate at least what they were trying to go to.
Are you talking about this search right here?
Yeah. Or on the home page, either one.
No. Well, and one thing to keep in mind too is on this one, if I did that same search, I'll do a search for web. This is going to be searching for knowledge articles. This isn't going to search the service catalog. So if user comes directly to this, that's what they're going to get. Now, when you build out your knowledge articles, you are able to start linking them to service catalog entries.
That's probably the best thing to do. Yeah.
But that'll be further along. Building knowledge management, if you don't have processes in already, can be difficult. But there are always best practices in it.
Well, the placeholder text inside that search engine is not like super noticeable. So somebody may kind of bypass that and think they're going to be searching the entire application, but hopefully they'll see these larger icons below.
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. I think you bring up some good points. And we'll just have to, I mean, as the customers, I guess it'd be, well, what would you do? And then if it's not really an internal IT question, that would be from just a customer standpoint. What would you click on? How would you get there? And that's kind of why we're going over these examples. But what would you click? We want to make sure that you are successful throughout this.
JC, what we can do is make knowledge article bold in red.
Potentially, but once again, this isn't a design session or UATs. It's just a training session, so you can make that a note with Ian. But just all I mean is to bring up potential things of what would people see, and let's make sure that people are trained to use this properly, or use it how it was intended, rather. So as we mentioned, this is going to be just your knowledge base search. You can see search knowledge base articles. It may not be the clearest right now, but that has the potential in the future to get changed.
Real
To
quick
make it
question.
easier.
Sorry, JC.
Yep.
Do we have options to make that search bar different instead of the knowledge base? I mean, to me, it makes more sense if the search was actually searching the catalog.
So that's a very good question. I know there's ways to make it search the service catalog. However, the search in the service catalog, this one is very specific to this catalog, and there's not from a technical perspective from Stairwell, there's not a lot you can change about it. Like it's in the way this page sits, and you can't really bring it out. But we can definitely take a look further from a technical aspect of things we might be able to do. There is a way you could search the service catalog, but I don't know if it's going to be the exact search that this is, where if I type web, it's going to come up with my categories, my catalog items right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and show that. I was doing it on my own copy. See, you get a couple options when you do that.
Yes, this search is going to search through all of your categories, your services, and your catalog items. It does even have the more here, so we can see the descriptions of them.
Yes, Smitty, can you see that? It says request a new page, and then it also says request an update as a separate thing.
Yeah. I mean, that all works fine. That's fine. I'm just more concerned about the landing page.
On the very front, I see. Yep.
Yeah, so what he's saying is that this might be better to be searching the service catalog. Once again, that's going to be something for a future state, and so that'd be something to talk with Ian about, and we can talk on the internal team on our side. But that would be a future state. For now, however, it is going to be searching for knowledge articles. If you do want to do a search for your service catalog, the first thing you'll have to do is either click the service catalog in the top menu item, or you do have the service catalog button right here. And then in the upper right-hand corner, we do have this search that we've been just talking about. Does that make sense? So from today moving forward, I understand that maybe in the future you may want this knowledge to change, but for now, is anyone confused on how to search the service catalog versus the knowledge base? Okay. All right. Does anyone have just any kind of general questions, anything they want to re-go through from either today or yesterday? Anything at all?
I have a couple of questions. So earlier we were going over the software section, and only liaisons can make software requests. And I know there are a number of other categories that only liaisons can make that request. This is probably more of a question for INP, but is there going to be an easily accessible list of liaisons anywhere that we're going to make available to the users? Because I know a lot of people, if you say you have to, this request has to go through your liaison, they're going to say, well, I don't know who my liaison is. I'm not even sure where to find it, to be honest with you, other than that it's on SharePoint somewhere. Are we going to make this available?
Seems to me like that could be a knowledge base article.
Yeah, no, I would have to Sylvia or Ian or Dolly. Those are I wouldn't know from my side. You are correct.
Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty simple answer, unless I'm mistaken. I think it's just a knowledge base article. Does anyone else think differently?
We'll look into that.
Okay, next question. What is the appropriate venue for reporting an issue with the Stairwell system itself? Like with our current system, we may have technical issues like an email on the ticket isn't sending, or an email on the ticket accidentally sent 50 times, or you're not getting notifications, or a technician doesn't have permissions that they should have, or even, you know, aesthetic issues with the system, like this is confusing and unintuitive, here's a better suggestion, or noticing typos, something like that. What is the appropriate way to submit those requests? Because normally I would open a ticket, but I'm not sure if that's what we're doing for Stairwell.
I think that's another great question. And once again, I'm going to defer. It's going to depend on your internal processes. I can tell you from an outside perspective, I've seen a couple different things. Is as long as it's not if the system is down, there has to be another way other than Stairwell to report on it. Because if the Stairwell system's down, you can't make a ticket on it. But for the other items, they could be internal service catalog items potentially. And those are things just that I've seen in the past. However, I will defer once again to Ian, Sylvia, and Dolly.
I mean, can we play with it a little bit? There's a couple of typos that are living in there now that will get fixed, but they're there now. Can we pretend to report them?
I mean, if you'd like.
Want to do that, Catherine?
Through submitting a ticket in Stairwell, or?
Well, let's go to one of the typos, and then we maybe as a group we can figure out what we would do with it. So just go into the service catalog. Say in the parlance, this is a known error to the team. So. Go down to the service desk. Box.
Looks like there's a typo. There's a typo right here.
Yeah, and it's on the front box too. Yeah, so you saw it right away. Cool. Does everybody else see it? We're just missing an O or a U. I forget what. Yeah, we're missing an O, I think.
Yep.
So how would we report this?
I agree with Wendy.
Pardon me?
I go with Wendy.
I didn't hear what Wendy said. I'm sorry. That's why I asked.
The applications go.
Modification under application software.
Oh, I see. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's good.
We just need to update this list. I don't think we added Cherwell. I can't remember. We need a fresh upload of the software list in there.
And
Well, the other
this
thing to
brings,
consider in this, and excuse me, Dolly, but the one thing to consider in this is also what other things are using this list. So, and the reason I want to bring that up is if I do a software request, is that using the same list right here?
Yes.
So then in that case, and this is from a customer standpoint, and this is because the reason I want to bring this up because we talked about this yesterday, is someone had mentioned that if I had wanted Sharewell access, I would go to software request. Now, if you add Sharewell to that list that you're saying, it's also going to be added here. And there are ways that you don't necessarily have to, but it could be added here. And so someone could actually fully submit a Sharewell access request from the software and have no idea that it's mislabeled, that they should have gone into account management. So this is one thing to keep in mind on this. Dolly, you were in the middle of saying something.
Well,
I apologize.
well, we're calling this portal the INP Customer Service Center. So when I see the typo in the IT service desk box, I wouldn't think about. I might not even know what Sharewell is. And I think this is something we as a team may have to figure out. Yeah, Sharon, I know you said unless it's clearly stated in our marketing, and I think we have to figure out what names we want out there. That's thanks. I think that's
In the software application list, we can, instead of saying Sharewell, we can just name it whatever we decided on the naming of this portal. I think we called it INP Customer Support, I think, something like that.
Customer Service Center.
It's Customer Service Center. So instead of saying Sharewell, we would replace it by this name.
I see. Okay. Thanks for just walking through this with me. I was just trying to think about how that would happen.
Yeah, so it sounds like there needs to be some more internal discussion. Catherine, I think that's a really great question that you brought up on how do you make changes to it. And Dolly, thanks for pointing out that there were typos. So looking at real world, how would we go about doing this? And so I think that's a really good live example. And that really shows that maybe there's some more additional internal training or figuring out how exactly we want to do this from a process perspective. I think the approach, the only item that I would mention is under application software modification. Once again, the question would just be, would this be where a customer would go to find it? Would be my only question in further. And that's something that you'll have to determine as an organization.
Yeah, that's a good point, JC. I'm thinking if they see things that are confusing or things that need to be improved, we might want to have a spot for that. That's pretty obvious. If that's possible. I don't know. Lots of things for us to think about. Oh, and here comes Sylvia.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about. And the nice thing about Sharewell is, I mean, it's whether it's ITSM, whether it's any process, it's always got to be fairly iterative, right? You have to continue improving it. and it's never really a done project. There's always going to be new things coming out, new ways of thinking. So there's always room to grow within it. All right. Catherine, did you have any additional questions? I know you said you had a few.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just have one more. So we only provide services that are categorized in the service catalog, but users who are not very technically inclined might have difficulty understanding what category their request belongs to. So it's definitely impossible to submit uncategorized requests on this portal, correct? If you really don't know what category your request goes in, there's no option except to call the service desk.
This is going to be another internal question. I don't fully know your service catalog.
There's a general one under IT service desk that just says I need help. Yeah.
Request help. And then, so the other question of just looking at this and just to play, I guess, kind of devil's advocate is, and Catherine, maybe you have an answer for this, is would you as a customer know to go to IT service desk for, I don't know, I can't find anything I'm looking for, I don't know where to go. Would you click service desk and then request help and then submit service request?
I personally, probably that would not occur to me if I was just a user from another department looking around, not sure what to do.
I think that's another marketing thing. And I have a follow-up to that question. So with each service request or service catalog, there is a team that will receive those tickets. What would be the case for this service catalog? Is it assigned to a specific team? Is it going to the service desk directly? And I think this might be an internal question.
It might be internal, and I can also find out for you really quick too.
Sure. And are you asking if the IT service desk getting things in that box goes to the service desk? Is that the question you're asking?
Yes. So general requests, are they all going to service desk?
Yeah, Shereen, they do. They get assigned to service desk, and then I guess they would assign a different team if need be.
Yeah. And in this case, are they still going to be the owner of the ticket, or are they going to create like, what was it called? An assignment, or what was the specific name?
A task. I don't think it would, because of that,
yeah.
I think they would assign it to a different team, and then someone else would own it.
Then I think the is that something in the thick client, or is that something done from the customer side?
The thick client.
Okay.
Yeah, it almost makes me think. I agree getting the word out. There's lots of things we have to get the word out about, but I also think there might be a box that says, don't know where to click here.
And we are going to receive training on the thick client.
There will need to be conversations, like I said, once both with I think Ian, and then our internal team as well. I won't provide any assumption on that. I think that has. I'm just going to leave that to, like I said, Ian, Sylvia, and Dolly, as well as our internal Beyond20 team. Looks like Wendy has a question.
Actually, I just wanted to volunteer to Dolly. Since my team probably has the least amount of IT experience, our 311 operators might be a good source of testing and back-end user experience feedback.
Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, I know that can be very helpful to have people that weren't in it to really get in and test it and make sure that from a person that hasn't used this, does this make sense? And I know it was mentioned that, yeah, there's marketing, but there's only so much marketing you can do. And I mean, is this like something you will always continuously market and just every new employee gets marketed to this? And then how often do people actually like go into it? Because there's going to be people that are going to be submitting tickets all the time. There's going to be people that go and submit tickets every few months. And then there's going to be people that go in and submit tickets or want to look at this maybe once a year at most. So you really have to determine, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for individuals that only come into this portal once a year for them to remember where to go, unless it is extremely intuitive. And that's really the overall goal. And I think that you've done a good job of, you've got, these are the most common items. And that's why we've also got this training here today, is like making sure that we're asking the questions of, where would I go if I wanted to do X? Where would I go if I wanted to do Y? And then hopefully this has been helpful, and we are providing the videos. So if you do need them in the future, you certainly have them. Yeah, I think those are all some very good questions. Is any, Catherine, was there anything else?
No questions from me. Maybe somebody else has a question that we can go over.
Okay, sounds good. I know you said you had a few. I just wanted to make sure we got through them all. Anyone else on here have a question? Question, comment, concern? All right. If not, that's all I've got for today. Just to do a quick recap here, I do want to bring up, give me one moment. Just from the beginning, we talked about receiving a new, when a new ticket has been created, if I want to reply through the email regarding this ticket, I don't want to necessarily do it from the portal because I'm in my email right now. I don't want to open up the portal, whatever the reason may be. I'm replying through the email. We want to make sure that we're not editing this subject line. So this subject line is what Stairwell uses to take a look to make sure that your email gets back to the ticket that it originated from. Other than that, we did just take a look at a couple more items here. We went through some examples, both within the service catalog, within my items, within knowledge articles. Specifically, we looked at the search. I think this is going to be extremely helpful for your customers, especially the ones that are new and don't really know what to click necessarily. And I guess one thing I want to see here is if I click general question, where does it take me? Okay, it takes me to request an account. But we also took a look to make sure we understood that the contact information is here. Just took a look at our general service catalogs. And then we went through some of your questions. So once again, I want to leave up, just make sure, one last chance. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
I don't have any questions for you or comments. So for Ian, what can we expect coming up in terms of training? Like, who's going to get what types of training and when over the next month or so?
I don't have a definitive answer on that just yet. I think Sylvia and I probably need to talk to the Beyond20 team on that.
All right, don't we have some training already set up or this month for other users?
No, I think that I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sylvia.
I think that the trainings that we had were things that we were going to do internally.
I see.
Yeah. So as far as training from Beyond20, I don't think we had anything else formally set up.
Okay. And the training, and just for my clarity, the training for our applications administrators, and if I'm remembering correctly, that's Dana, Freddie, and Zoe, has been completed. So they have training on sort of the back end, what the things that they're able to change, correct?
That's correct.
All
and
right.
so the next time, I mean, we had a team meeting yesterday. Our next ITIL team meeting is where we will kind of make some of these, gather some of this information, look for feedback, and make some determinations.
Great, thank you. So for everyone on the line, if you have notes, feedback, questions, suggestions, please send them via email to the ITIL team so that they can take all of that in.
Please.
There's a question on the table. If since we've got time left, are we able to take a quick look at the thick client?
This session was just for the portal itself.
And so for my clarity again, the thick client, is that primarily used by our analysts within
Correct.
IT?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So from a customer perspective, the interfaces that will be utilized are going to be either through email or this portal.
Got it.
There is a browser client as well as the thick client that sits on the desktop that would be only for your analysts on the back end.
Okay. And are the analysts going to receive training, or is that something that's still being discussed on the thick client?
Yeah, we hadn't gotten that far.
Okay. I'll keep asking.
We'll give an answer when we have one.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah. Thank you all for attending. I really appreciate your guys' time, and we'll send this over. Send the recording over soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, JC.
Thanks very much, JC. Thanks everybody for coming and trying and testing with us. Keep the questions and ideas flowing.
Yeah, thanks everyone.